Yeah, I need a speaker to talk about personal branding. Can you help?
Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna get this set up. All right, hold
Sure.
on.
Sure.
All right, let's get this thing started. I'm excited to tell you, it's never been easier to build a personal brand. Hey, we're not going to be talking about how to do a funny dance on TikTok, right? That's not what today is about. But we will be sharing strategies on how to get yourself out there, how to become more visible, how to become known, how to stand out. So let's start with defining what personal branding is. Personal branding is the intentional shaping of your reputation. Personal branding is the intentional shaping of your reputation. Well, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that there is action involved that is on purpose. It doesn't just happen to you, you get a choice. You get to choose what you're doing, what you put out there into the world that people see. And that image develops a reputation. And what's a reputation? Well, that's just what people say about you, what they think about you, their beliefs about you. And you get to decide what you show them so they can form those beliefs. So personal branding is an action and it's on purpose. We are all, doesn't matter what career you're in, competing for attention. We are in what I like to call the sea of sameness, right? Are you drowning in the sea of sameness? Can people find you amongst the competition? Do people know you exist? It's hard to stand out when everyone else is doing the same thing as you. Now there's the way that I think we've been doing this for a very long time, which is we try to be really good at our job. We try to be really good at our profession. We try to be the best in our market. You know, there's an old quote from Steve Martin. It says, "Be so good that they can't ignore you." And I love that. I agree with that. I think we should always aspire to be getting better at our industry, to have the newest knowledge, to have the better tools, the better systems, to be so good at our job that we are highly referable. But is that the only thing we can do? Because lots of people can be good at their job. In fact, you don't just notice when someone's good at something. That actually isn't a criteria for being noticed. Let me tell you a few things that will get people noticed. One thing that can get you noticed is being obvious. People notice what is obvious. If you saw a group of cows standing in a pasture and one was purple, I think you would notice that, right? It's different. It's not the norm. It doesn't blend in. So the first thing is it has to be in your field of vision and it has to stand out. Most of us are in a routine. We are going through our day. We are happy to have patterns and habits and rituals. And to break those routines, to grab our attention, you need to be different. You need to, in some way, break the pattern. So it's not just about being good, it is about being seen. You know what else you notice? You notice what's familiar. When you have something that you see that you choose every time, you don't even think about it anymore. You grab what's familiar. If I'm going to the aisle and I'm choosing a topping, maybe you grew up with Nutella, that's an easy grab. You're not even thinking about that. You just know you need to replace it. And you have memories of that. You grew up with that, right? That is what's familiar. And you don't even notice the other things that you're not looking for. And in the personal branding space, if someone's never worked with you, they're not going to notice you. If you're not in their realm of experience, if you don't have a previous relationship, then you're not standing out to them. They don't care how good you are if they've never worked with you, if they've never heard of you. We also notice what is frequent. That means what we see everywhere. I never heard of the electric scooters until they started showing up all over the downtowns in our cities here. And when I would travel, I'd see another one and another one. and now they're everywhere. When you start to see things everywhere, when you wake up, when you go to bed, and when you're eating lunch, when you're out to dinner, when you start seeing things more and more and more, you start to notice it. All of advertising was built on that. Not just reaching as many people as possible, but reaching them multiple times so that the message sinks in. So for a personal brand, it's not just about being good, it's about people seeing that in as many places as possible so that when they're looking for the thing that you sell, you're the obvious choice. You are the one that comes to mind because when they looked, you were everywhere that they were looking. Another thing that gets noticed is being relevant. We aren't seeing what we aren't looking for. Now, before I became a parent, I'd never noticed all the different diaper brands, or baby foods, or baby clothes. But when I became a parent now, everything that I'm seeing is for children. I want to know all the baby foods, all the diaper brands, all the different ways that I can buy things that are going to help me as a parent. So when it's relevant, suddenly we notice it. So part of our job is to make it relevant. As a personal brand, how do you make the message relevant to the audience so they say, this is what I need? So how can more people see your work and see you? That's a big question. How can more people see your work and see you? Now there's a difference between being great at something and people knowing you're great at something. You could have all the talent in the world, and if no one knows it, then you don't have a business. So the question isn't, how do you keep getting better at your craft? You should be doing that, yes, but that's not the question. That's not how we build business. The question is, how do we get more people to know how good we are at our craft? Right now. You can only get better over time, but right now, if you're in business, people need to know. So what can we do to bridge that gap? I call this the visibility gap. The visibility gap is the distance between your talent and people knowing about it. And until we cross that gap, we don't have a business. So the question is, how do you find more people? How do you bridge the visibility gap? How do you tell more people your story? How do you get more people to see you as the obvious choice? And then how do you make more sales? We have to cross that visibility gap. We have to take the talent that we have and let as many people know about it as possible at the right time, in the right place, with the right relevance, and make it obvious. So it's not about being so good that they can't ignore you. It's about being so visible that they can't ignore you. You have to be seen. I call this being a front and center leader. It really is about finding yourself, finding what works for you. Not everything is going to work for every person, but finding the thing that helps you feel like you are becoming more visible to more people. That is the magic ingredient.